Good morning, Bitcoin. Today is Monday, August 21st, 2017. My name is Thomas Hunt, and here's what's happening today in Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin was down 1.82% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 39.98, a high of 41.39, and a low of 39.86. The price of Bcash was down 20% to a last of 614. November SegWit 2x hard fork could see Newbie users lose Bitcoin. That's right. The 2x hard fork supported by the New York agreement has so far refused to add replay protection to their chain, meaning that new users could lose their Bitcoins if they're not careful. Story developing. Many are calling the SegWit 2x fork a hostile corporate takeover of the Bitcoin protocol. You decide. Bitcoin price seemingly prepares for the next leg up towards $5,000. Once again, everyone is excited about Bitcoin. Lightning Network will come to Bitcoin from tomorrow, perhaps starting tomorrow, but still, bad English aside, we're very excited to see the Lightning Network activate when Segregated Witness activates in the next few days. And finally, a huge and excellent long read from Quartz, telling both the history of Bitmain and Bitmain's new plan to enter the artificial intelligence market with new ASICs that will basically allow machine learning from many data centers all over the world, creating a decentralized distributed network of artificial intelligence. Very exciting stuff from Bitmain. It was also interesting to read that the chip designer for Bitmain had part of his ideas from reading a science fiction book. Once again, science fiction drives ideas forward by people imagining what they can do and other engineers coming along and building the actual things, just like cell phones, tricorders, communicators, all the things that we have today. And I wanted to read a quote from this article, even though it's very long, and it's linking to the other thing. And it says at the bottom that money is just a story that we tell each other, and that storytelling is the human attribute that allows groups, society, and civilization to form. If we believe in the same story, we can work together. And I wish that Bitmain would take this a little more to heart and that we could work together more, because I think there's a lot we can accomplish as a team. And finally, a Bitcoin law for every state. They are attempting to pass a uniform law that would regulate Bitcoin the same in every state. However, unfortunately, there's an idea that a license to operate in one state could be used as a passport, allowing you to then operate in many states, creating a system of confusion where perhaps there would be 50 different laws in 50 different states. This would be a nightmare for cryptocurrency adoption and would probably set the United States back about 10 to 15 years. It's a big failure and they need to fix it. And finally, we have the first transaction from Bitcoin in space from Blockstream, sorry. Adam Back, creator of Hashcash, sent the first transaction to the Bitcoin satellite. Congratulations to Blockstream. And for more on Bitcoin scaling, we're joined by Jimmy Song. How's it going, Jimmy?
Well, a lot of different things happened over the weekend. The main thing regarding Bitcoin Cash is that they had their normal 2016 block difficulty adjustment that brought down the difficulty 40%, and a lot of miners seem to have jumped on it. Pools like Npool and BTC.com, and obviously via BTC, they increased their hash rate. I think at its peak, it's something like 25 to 30% of the hash rate that Bitcoin had. So it was actually a pretty significant amount. But what that meant is that because Bitcoin Cash is only 7% of the difficulty of Bitcoin, the blocks are getting mined ridiculously fast, something like 20 or 30 blocks per hour. So as a result of that, there's going to be another the 2016 block difficulty adjustment is happening rather quickly. It was, at least the last time I checked, I think it was last night, they had mined something like 500 blocks in about 23 hours. That takes it to about August 22nd, 23rd. for when they will have their own difficulty adjustment. And the projection is that if it happens around then, that the difficulty would triple. And that would take it to 21% of the difficulty of Bitcoin, normal Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash. What that means is that it will no longer be profitable, especially since Bitcoin Cash came down in price so significantly. And that means that this window of opportunity isn't going to last very long. And we might get into a situation where there's sort of like, it's very hard on Bitcoin Cash, so no one mines it, and then it becomes very easy, and then people mine it, and then it becomes difficult again, and so on and so forth. And I found this paper published by a couple of research firms from Cornell that I sent out in my newsletter, basically called the chain hopping attack. If any miner has a significant amount of hash power, they can sort of influence things by hopping back and forth based on when the difficulty adjustment happens. And that's kind of in play right now, which would make things very interesting. Another note about Bitcoin Cash, the reason I think that it went down so much is because Bithumb, that's the main exchange in Korea, started trading Monero. And Monero went up significantly today. And it seems like a lot of people that went into Bitcoin Cash and pumped it up are now getting out and getting into Monero. So it's sort of the new shiny thing over there. I wouldn't be surprised if as they add new cryptos, that those are the ones that keep pumping. The retail investors in Korea tend to seem to be driving a lot of this action. That's usually Tone's thing, but that's my price thing for today. Read my article on replay attacks explained. That goes through sort of a lot of the SegWit 2x and why they're refusing, what replay protection really means, what replay attacks are, and that's on my Twitter. Yeah, that's my update for today.
The basic idea on replay, if they added it to whatever it's going to be called, Bitcoin 3, if they added it to Bitcoin 3, then it would be protected. But if they don't add it, all the exchanges, all of the wallets even have to add it on their own, so it's more work for everybody.
Yeah, so there would be significantly more socialized cost. I mean, my personal view is this going to happen anyway, and there are going to be more coins, so it's better that everyone prepares now rather than later. But yeah, it's something that a lot of people are worried about. If you're not careful with your transactions, you may get replayed. I will say that the risk is probably much more on the exchange and merchant side than consumer. Say you're sending like, 2 Bitcoins to Purse or something like that to buy something of Amazon, and then it gets replayed, and Bitcoin 3, as you're calling it, some of that money goes through. Well, what's Purse gonna do if you tell them, well, it got replayed, I accidentally sent Bitcoin 3 instead of Bitcoin, as well as Bitcoin? What are they gonna do? Are they gonna keep it? Probably not. They're just gonna send it back to you, and you'll be okay. The bigger problem is for an exchange or a merchant. If they accidentally do that, consumer's not going to get that back unless they happen to be really honest. So at least from a consumer standpoint, and as long as you're not like dealing with other individuals in a peer-to-peer fashion, and it's more towards like merchants or something like that, you should be okay. I think they have like fiduciary duties, and like they don't like the legal liability of potential lawsuits and things like that. So I think they'll do the right thing. So I don't think the risk there is quite as much. It's much more for exchanges. And also in my tech newsletter, I sent out a statement from March that the exchanges put out, which was something to the effect of, we really want replay protection, and if you don't have replay protection on your hard fork, then we're going to consider Bitcoin Core to be the main Bitcoin. And that's a very reasonable, and they said at the end, this isn't ideological, this is just practical, right? Like it's going to be very hard to implement it on our side without replay protection. So please add it. And this was in the context of sort of Bitcoin Unlimited and things like that. So take that as you will. I don't know if they'll stay consistent with that, or whether SegWit 2x and the New York agreement bind them to something else. But it's something definitely to consider. And if you haven't subscribed to the Bitcoin Tech News newsletter, please do so. It's at the end of my article. You can click on it and just enter your email address. It's also, you can follow Bitcoin Tech Talk on Twitter, and that's also there as well.
It's certainly, with the socialized costs, it reminds me of the famous words of Frank Norris in the book The Octopus, where he said, whatever the system will bear, whatever the system will bear. But with the Bcash, if they're producing so many blocks, won't that flood the market with Bcash? Could that just, as an economic supply, could that cause the price to go down as well?
Well, so the emission schedule for Bitcoin Cash is exactly the same as Bitcoin, right? It's 12.5, and there's already like 16 million. And a significant portion.
However, many of them are probably locked in perhaps hard wallets, paper wallets. Coinbase didn't give them out. Presumably they're locked up somewhere. But.
Well, some of them are. I think I had estimated at one point something like 20% of all Bitcoin Cash was like sort of flooded into the markets, or at least transacted once. So if that's the case, that's still like something like 4 million Bitcoin Cash out there. 12.5 like times 2,000. That's like what, like almost 50,000 Bitcoin Cash tokens versus, you know, something like 4 million. It makes a difference. It's, I think, still about like 1% or something like that. So it's not insignificant, but it's not completely significant either. I think the price action, at least, and the flooding and all that, like that's much more because of Korean retail investors, as far as I can tell.
Very interesting. Well, we'd just like to thank everyone for watching. If everyone could give us a thumbs up and a share, that'll help more people find the show. If it's your first time here, please subscribe down below. We do these every day. And yesterday, I asked people to donate $10, and you did. Right here, we had a donation for, let's see, 0.00244,311 Bitcoins. We had a donation for 0.0013. and a couple more for 0.0024. So thank you so much for your donations. Really helps support the show. And give us a thumbs up and a share. We'll be back tomorrow. Bye-bye.